let's get into Colin Farrell.
Yeah. Big
The
news here,
guy
I
that
thought.
you call, what do you call him? DCU's,
Oh, I'd
you
say
have,
Mr. DCU. I call
oh
him
yeah,
Mr.
yeah, yeah,
You're becoming
Mr.
Mr. DCU all of a
DCU.
sudden.
Mr. Baseball, rest in peace. Mr. DCU. Colin Farrell, who's playing hardball to probably get a season 2. I don't know if he might get it, Ryan, but especially if he does this.
I don't necessarily think those two things are disconnected.
Yeah. What do you think? Colin Farrell as possibly playing Sergeant Rock.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's look, he's having a career renaissance in large part due to his efforts on the Penguin. I mean, we talked about the look of Frank Rock. The look of Sergeant Rock is, he's not a super young guy. That's why I thought the Jeremy Allen White rumor was interesting. Although you can make him look grizzled, he's not a young looking. I think he's not that old. He's like 30 or whatever. But Colin Farrell as this sort of, tough as nails World War II infantryman, I can see it. He definitely has the look. We know he's got the chops. This is, it was interesting to me that when this hit, it felt like everyone could see it. It felt like the response that I was reading online where people were like, yeah, like I could get with that. And it got people excited. So I think, they should do everything in their power to close that deal and, have him do this. But I do think, to your point, it would make him even more powerful in any negotiation about a Penguin series because, this is an opportunity for him to do potentially a prestige movie with Luca Guadagnino where he doesn't have to be in all the prosthetics and all the makeup for hours at a time. And so if that winds up being successful, he may just say, I loved being Oz for a bit, but I don't really want to keep doing that. Yeah. So we'll see if we get both.
Because
but they may have no choice. Yeah.
Because he's going to have to continue doing it for the movie, right? He's going to have to see what that feels like again.
But he's already said he's fine with that because it's like a few days. That's his point, is like a few days versus a few months. That's the... Yeah.
This is where you start being innovative in creating something that makes it easier for him to get into instead of spending the hours, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
In a chair.
Yeah, they did that with, I was trying to think of, that's happened before. I'm trying to remember. I know with like Rebecca Romaine when she was Mystique, like the amount of time she had to spend in the chair for X-Men 1 versus like Last Stand, they got that way down. I think they had it down to like an hour by the last time she played the character, but it was like 6 hours the first time she did it. So yeah, you're right. I think that's what'll probably happen because I don't think Warner Brothers can afford to not have more Penguin.
And whoever can do that gets a promotion. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. But I think for Farrell, this is a win-win because he's got these two parts that are so diametrically opposed from a physical standpoint, from a mannerism standpoint. I think it's a huge win for him as an actor because he can be like, look at me over here, heroic soldier, gritty World War II drama. And look at me over here. I'm taking this character that could easily be ridiculous and I'm making him into this like sinister crime lord. I think for him, it's like a home run to do both.
He is one of those elite actors, man. He's A-list. He is a professional with regards to his performance. Is he always brings it. And you've heard us talk about other people that do the same sort of thing. So yeah, if you can land Colin Farrell to do a interesting character, this would be one that would be very interesting to see. Again, I'm just looking forward to hearing Sergeant Rock.
So this will help your cause in that regard, I think, because Colin Farrell's a big star. So if you have another big star as Sergeant Rock, this will help your campaign to embarrass The Rock.
Although The Rock is doing this movie with Scorsese, and if he can perform there,
his promotional comment about that film was whatever. It was just very.
What did he say?
He confirmed that it's happening, and he was basically like, I'm so excited to be making a movie with so many of my great friends, including Marty Scorsese. I'm like, get out of here, man. My great friends, Leo and Marty.
Great
Just
friends.
don't show up as Dwayne Johnson. I'm just telling you, if I see you as Dwayne Johnson in that movie, everybody sees you as
Everybody's
that.
out. Everybody's out.
Everybody's
Everybody's
gonna
out.
be coming for you. Yeah.
They're gonna say everything we said we was gonna say. Leonardo was great. Martin Scorsese does what he does
Yeah,
because
Emily
he's
Blunt,
behind the
great.
camera. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But The Rock was just The Rock, and I'm out. We got these leaks. They didn't put this out because of how horrible it was, and that this would hurt these people's careers, something to that effect. You're already hurting their careers. You're already hurting their careers by even just saying that. By even canceling, just saying that the movie is unwatchable. As an actor or performer in that movie, as the people that set up this, you're because of the work that you put into it and is never going to be seen. Now they're now supposedly these leaks. I don't think they should campaign to release this Batgirl thing. I don't want to see it. I think I don't know what do you think of that possibility, and what did you think of the scene that was leaked?
Okay. So a leaked fight scene of Batgirl was leaked in the past couple of days. It went viral. The things that started to go viral were like, oh, look at the intensity and look at the ferocity. And it led to a round of this movie needs to be saved and finished and released. You and I did not talk about this beforehand other than to exchange that it had happened. I was curious to see if you would share my take. It actually appears that you do. I don't think the footage is that good. Why? What are people excited about here? Like, okay, so you see Leslie Grace in the suit getting tossed around by a villain. Yeah, there's a lot of bricks breaking and windows shattering as they're kind of flying around the room. But the fight choreography stinks. There's nothing acrobatic here. There's nothing to make Batgirl look super duper cool. It's just like one person in a costume, a woman, getting beat on by a man who's not in a costume. It doesn't
The
look that good.
believability factor, Brian.
And it doesn't look that good. And I'm sorry, the fact that this became a consensus, like, oh my God, this is so intense, they have to release it. I'm like, what have you people been watching? Like, I feel like I should send you. Should I send you clips of The Raid? Should I send you clips of Daredevil season 1? Should I send you Enter the Dragon? Like, do you want to see what actual fighting on screen can look like? And then tell me that this is so good that you need to release it? There's no way they're going to do it. First off, we just talked about Warner Brothers and all the cash problems they have and all the challenges they have. Do you honestly think they're going to like fork over another 20, 30 million to finish this movie in post and then release it with the state of the superhero genre? A Batgirl movie? Not happening. Like, not happening and shouldn't happen. And this scene did not make me feel any more sad that we didn't get to see this movie in its final form. This is not the Batman world that I care about. And this scene
Yeah.
didn't change my mind. And I guess Keaton is in this, but like, again,
The only way I see Keaton in a movie again is if he's Bruce Wayne playing Batman in Batman Beyond. That's all I care about. Give me that, and I'll stick around for a Batman.
to me, it actually looked like what they described the movie as, which is a TV movie. This scene, to me, the way it was blocked
Yeah,
and the lack of like gadget
It
usage,
looked like
and, like,
WB.
it looked like a television movie to me.
It looked like the CW. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to find that. It's like, yo, this looks familiar to me. This sort of. I watched it a few times. I'm like, oh yeah, CW. For me, it lacked the believability, man. She's getting tossed and thrown around. She don't got no super serum, no super soldier serum. I don't know where she got her training at. Bones are bones. I'm sorry, unless you're somewhat enhanced. I don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My Supergirl is different in this respect. That is the key difference.
Oh, we got to talk a little bit about that. Do you want to do segue right there to Momoa?
Let's segue. Yes. So Jason Momoa speaks on Lobo. When you Brian, when you said that as I didn't recall seeing anything in the news about it. Perhaps you can jar my memory.
We know the deal here. And I think we're getting a confirmation, for better or for worse, that, you know, Jason Momoa has always, this is the character he always wanted
Yeah,
to do, not
yeah.
Aquaman. And in fact, he said in the promotional rounds that when Warner Brothers contacted him,
Ah,
he thought
yes.
they were contacting him to be Lobo, and then
Yeah, yeah.
and then Zack Snyder told him, "No, we want you to be Aquaman."
And he was like, cool.
And then he said, because he's out promoting Minecraft movie, which
Mm-hmm.
he's in, and he said about being in the part, I think I'm just the right person to play the role, born to do it.
Oh, yeah.
If we're going to typecast me in anything, let's put me in Lobo. Motorcycle,
Yeah.
smoking cigars, partying, dreadlock,
Yeah.
loves to fight, funny. End
Yeah.
quote.
Yeah.
Now, did you hear? Apparently, since he got this, and apparently, like the day that James Gunn became the head of DCU, Gunn posted on socials, Momoa texted him out of the blue with a text that just said "effing Lobo." So he was gunning for this part, pun
Oh,
intended, from
yeah.
day one. To the point where, and this is where the line between Jason Momoa and Lobo kind of really starts to blur, to the point where apparently on set, Minecraft, and I guess now Supergirl, because he's shooting it,
Uh-huh.
he apparently will not answer to Jason Momoa anymore. You have to call him Lobo, even when he's not working. So
But
I don't think you're really going to get a performance, Pablo, as we kind of suspected. This is just
it's just
Jason
gonna be
Momoa being
him.
everything he actually is as a person in costume.
Which Brian, I don't think another. Well, I think he can bring the intensity for Lobo. I think he can make that switch. But it just be Jason Momoa as Lobo. I think we're gonna get an interpretation that is in line with the Lobo character. But it's just gonna be him, and that's just who he is, right? I don't see this being a bad performance. It's gonna be, I would say, I'll call it, and this is what I expect sort of performance. This is what I expect. I know what I'm getting here. Type situation. So
Yeah, and I still think it's a smart writing maneuver to introduce him in Supergirl. I do like for all the stuff that we might poke fun at Jason Momoa and Lobo being kind of one and the same person. We've talked about the risks of the Supergirl project. And I think having Momoa in there is a little bit of a stabilizing force, right? Especially as
yeah,
a character that everyone can coalesce behind and say, yes, he is good at this. Like he
yeah,
will do a good job as this. I think it adds a little element of box office and a little element of safety and a little element of star power to a movie that does need it. Even if Supergirl is a star. So he said he's about halfway done with his part in the film, which is obviously not necessarily like the villainous part in the film. Or I don't know if he is a villain, even he might not be, he may be more anti-hero in this one, but I do think they were wise to include this character in this kind of intergalactic story the way they have. So I still remain cautiously optimistic on this project, given the budget is tighter, that it can be successful. Although, Pablo, I think we're going to get another addition to the annals of the female-led action superhero project not really panning out this summer. Because I don't know if you've seen the trailer for Ballerina, the Anna de Armas
no, I
John Wick
haven't.
spinoff.
Yes.
I've seen that in the theater a couple times now. There's zero buzz from the audience watching it. And I think the fact that they've got Keanu in this movie in like a cameo role is just going to underscore that this is not John Wick. I do not think this, and they've got this movie coming out in June, like right around like F1 and Superman and all. Like, I don't think this movie's going to work, and I think we're going to be having the same conversation about, hey, they budgeted this too high, it didn't do that well, and here's another female-led action project, good or not, that just didn't resonate with audiences. So that's what
Yeah.
Supergirl's up against.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna make the association of Jason Momoa's involvement in this movie is not necessarily similar to Tom Hardy's involvement in Mad Max, but it does the same sort of thing, whereas people are gonna go check it out because it's him in this role. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, let's see. Yeah, we man, there was no. I am like, you know how everybody was confident that Jason Momoa is going to be Lobo or it's just, yeah, right. It's the same thing with Anna Richardson, man. You think they haven't spoken, yo? If they spoken, it's been in a freaking parking lot where it hasn't been a phone call. It's done. That's a done deal, yo. That's a done
Well,
deal.
maybe the done deal is that since Reacher is on Amazon, Amazon's told them, you got the part when we get the IP next year.
Like, I'm telling you.
They're like, clear your schedule because like, Zaslav just picked up the phone. We got this.
Hello. Let me get back to you. Oh snap! Mortal Kombat 2.
Oh my god!
I have nothing to say really because I didn't enjoy Mortal Kombat, the first one.
Why didn't you enjoy that, Pablo?
Why? Why?
There's something missing from that movie.
The actual stuff that we thought it was gonna be and we thought we were gonna see, the actual. Yo, I was watching Bloodsport the other day, yo. Those movies don't like Enter the Dragon. He's like, yo, you go to see the face-offs to see what happens during that thing. And now I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is what we should have done the first time. Let's do it. Mortal Kombat 2. Let's give it a second go around. Let's roll the dice again.
The fact that this news article was treated like it was like this revolutionary info drop to me was just like, really? They're like, Mortal Kombat 2, we're actually going to feature the tournament this time. They're like, okay, like, you want a lollipop? Like, what? You managed to give us.
I forgot my
hours.
Scooby snacks in the car.
You gave us 2 hours of Mortal Kombat back in the pandemic, and you and I fell for it. We were getting kind of modestly excited for this movie coming out on streaming and blah blah blah. And then we get there, we're like 90 minutes in, and we're like, they haven't even started the tournament yet. And then you realize there is no tournament. You're like, what did I just watch?
I felt like Ralphie from Christmas Story when he realized it was a commercial.
So yes, thank God we get the tournament. I actually do think Carl Urban as Johnny Cage is amusing. He's never bad, but like, it will be pretty funny when we get to this film. We're like looking at it, being like, y'all couldn't just made this the first time.
Yeah,
the entire thing is going to be that. I hope it is good.
Yeah,
I hope it is good. I will watch it, but I'm just like, I really don't understand how we're living in a world where it took 2 movies to get an actual tournament on the board between Earth and Outworld.
It's like, get some real good choreographers, man. I don't know. That art has been lost, man. In fighting sequences, now it's just you kill my teacher type fights.
Yeah, it isn't just the special moves. Like, these are supposed to be like divinely inspired martial artists. Like, they should have skills that like we are not able to see otherwise. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just where we're at in action, like action staging. It all goes in phases, and we just don't have like the true balletic creative martial arts. Like, I don't know, what was your thought? Actually, this is a little bit of an aside, but I want to ask you, because you had Karate Kid Legends as like one of the movies you were really interested in for this year. When you see the trailer for that, and they are clearly using Hong Kong style wire work now for that, do you like that in sort of the context of the Karate Kid or not?
I don't like it when it's too too fantasy type. the physics have to look good. Because when there's a pause and then when there's a pause, a blatant pause in midair and a change of trajectory and stuff like that, when you see it, that
Yeah.
takes me out.
Well, okay, so there's that scene in the trailer where the kid basically does that off a fire escape. He does like a
Yes.
pivot in the air and like comes back with a flying kick. That clearly is
Yeah.
not possible. Like no human being could do that. And I was like, is this what we want from our Karate Kid franchise? I realize we don't want Ralph Macchio style of fighting, but like it feels like we've almost gone too far the other way.
Yeah. What I'm hoping to see if I'm right, if that's a descendant to Mr. Miyagi, that's what I care about, really. I'm not interested. I'm interested in seeing if they are able to make Ralph Macchio believable as a fighter. Because now you have Jackie Chan there. Come on.
Yeah, if he's in a stalemate with Jackie Chan in the dojo, like that is just
But if he is, even if he is, if they make it look good, Brian, then
okay.
okay. Like I'm interested in it looking good and believable that Ralph Macchio could beat me. Because right now he can't. And lastly, this is going to be like a rumor. This is rumors. And Brian, when Brian sent me this, he said, "You see this? Did you see this new Doomsday rumor of why Downey had to be the one to
Oh
play
yeah,
the
okay.
role?"
Okay.
And Brian spells out OUT. And I'm like, nah, I haven't seen it. I said, send me the link. So he sends me the link from Superhero Hype. And the headline is Avengers Doomsday Rumor teases how Doctor Doom tricks the heroes. We have spoken extensively on what this can't be. We can't have RDJ playing Tony Stark again.
Nope.
I've been out already, but this just furthers how out I'm in. I just want to just pay the entry fee to see the disaster that this is going to be.
This is going to become our latest Avengers Doomsday discussion. My Mouseganda alert is off the charts right now. Off the charts with this stuff. And this was number one, but I got some stuff from the Russos too that I know is just trying to fool us. So someone asked the Russos about the death of Tony Stark in Endgame. And they got kind of like coy about it, where they sort of were like, well, we don't want to talk too, like, we're definitely not stepping on that, but like, we don't really want to talk too much about it. And then they dropped the like, what you'll see is that Robert Downey Jr. is the only character who could possibly play Doom in this iteration. That was the hint. And then it kind of got leaked, or like one of the things that's kind of being put out there, which sort of dovetails with this, is that Victor Von Doom effectively assumes the likeness of Tony Stark to present himself as an ally to the heroes and then deceives them before whatever plot, as we talked about, might be sort of his race to preserve his timeline against the sacred timeline, if that's true. Which is code for, we have rewritten this part so that Robert Downey Jr. can just continue playing Tony Stark, but as a villain, which is lazy, which is insulting, and which I have no time for, and which I think audiences and critics will reject as an unimaginative retread, as opposed to Downey actually going for it as a new and villainous Victor Von Doom. This is one of the worst news stories that I could have seen in association with this part. But I think, to your point, it confirms confirms. If it's true, it would confirm our worst fears about this character being introduced to the MCU.
They cannot afford to continue to bleed money. And this is one of the most expensive projects that they have coming up. What are some of the numbers you're hearing in terms of what this is costing them?
Over 400 million budget.
For just Doomsday.
Correct. These are not being shot simultaneously.
Which is interesting.
Yes.
To me.
Yep.
Does that then, so if they're not able, possibly, let's say the scenario, we arrive at Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday, and it doesn't do what it's supposed to do or what they would have hoped it would do in the box office. Let's say it doesn't, dare I say, make $1 billion. Do you even attempt the Secret Wars at that point?
I'm sure they will, but I'm sure they will because they're desperate and they have all their. They're doing these movies for all the wrong reasons, right? So I'm going to give you my second Mousaganda point. This was so blatant that I was just like, who do you think you're fooling with this? All right. So here come the Russos. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Quote, the MCU has gotten quite large, that's for sure. I mean, frankly, we struggle with that same issue. But part of the reason Joe and I decided to go back is what you're talking about. There needs to be more of a central narrative. And that was something we were very specific about when we worked with Marvel before. We would really like to bring that focused narrative back, end quote, to Avengers Doomsday. You're just pandering to a frustrated audience. This has been a gigantic mess. So, of course, you send these guys out to be like, oh, we got it. We got the focused story and narrative to fix this. Like, I call BS on that all day long. All day long.
It's difficult to express the disappointment that this possibly may be in their attempt to sort of get back in our good graces and have those fans come over, because that's how you get to those numbers, man. Fans going to the movies over and over again to see something spectacular. And the way you're going about it is by just regurgitating
Yeah.
something that you've already given us and adding a little twist to it.
And this goes back to what you said at the top about the cheap pop. Like, this is why this is why I was making the case. Look, I know they won't, but this is why I was saying Disney should sell the IP because they don't deserve it anymore. That's my case. Not because it makes good fiscal I don't care about that. I'm saying creatively, you have demonstrated enough to me now that in the last 6 years, you have gone from being on the top of the world and seemingly being able to do no wrong on route to endgame, to showing to me you're not qualified to be the gatekeeper of this IP. Because the things you care about are not the things that fans care about. They're not the things that broader audiences care about. And they're not the things that good movies care about. You aren't interested in telling great stories. You aren't interested in faithfully adapting classic comic stories. You aren't interested in casting the right people for roles. And you aren't interested in building momentum patiently and sensibly toward those big moments. You're interested in celebrity. You're interested in the cheap nostalgia pop without the substance. You're interested in agenda. You're interested in how much you can insult the audience while still getting them to fork over their dollars. That's what you're interested in. And everything I see about this Avengers project to me reeks of that. Downey being brought back and then the character, and then allowing Robert Downey to rewrite the character so he can basically just play the same guy again, is the definition of something that's creatively bankrupt, but commercially sensible. A cheap pop. Bringing the Russos back, claiming they've got a focused narrative for something that's been a gigantic mess, is a cheap, nostalgic pop. Installing Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and every cameo under the sun over the course of these next two movies to try and get people out to the box office because the multiverse saga has been such a failure is a cheap, nostalgic pop. Like, none of this will be successful in the long run. And even if they make decent money, which I would probably take the under on most box office forecasts for this movie, you're going to be left with the husk that doesn't make me excited at all anymore for the new stuff. Like, I mean, I'll go so far as to say it right now. Like, if I was a Vegas betting house and we started setting lines for box office for all of these upcoming projects, I'll take the under on every single one of them. And I know when I take that bet, I'm going to win way more than I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
All of them. You give me Avengers movies, you give me this Deadpool sequel, you give me Fantastic Four, I'll take the under on any of them. And I'm going to be right a high enough percentage of the time based upon what Disney's doing to where I'm going to make a lot of money doing that. Which means to me, it's time to go. Creatively, it's time to go. It's time to go to a place where they actually care about telling the stories the right way.
Yeah.
So between Daredevil and this story and the Russo's propaganda tour, yeah, I'm at my wit's end with this.
It feels like Kevin Feige isn't really in charge, because how do you? I mean, I guess it happens.
He's part of the problem now too. I mean, like I said, like all, every most great coaches get fired. So I mean, I think we're at that stage where if I was in a position to imagine buying the IP, I wouldn't necessarily buy him with it.
No, no, that's over.
And maybe in fairness to him, like maybe if he went to take over Star Wars, he would do a great job there because it would just be something fresh and new for him too. Like maybe it is for him. Like it's the whole thing has gotten stale. Maybe like his own, like I can't do this for 30 years, 40 years. But if I do something new, some of the things that made me successful, made me great, I can bring to that. I'd be very open to seeing him try.
Yeah, that is one IP that anybody who takes over, you want to see if they are able to bring it back to where it once was. And that, I guess, that fresh and newness and that challenge will be something interesting for Kevin Feige to want to attempt to do. And it being different gives him that fresh start, right? So,
yeah. I mean, I think is like with DC, we kind of know, like based upon all these where there's smoke, there's fire stories, like for better or for worse, we kind of are at the doorstep of what you've always been forecasting. So like that sale of the IP is probably coming. I mean, like odds are it's coming, right? Like whether Superman delays it or not is a question, but it doesn't seem likely with a track record of Warner Brothers they're going to be able to fend that off forever. So you're probably within a few years of DC being owned by somebody else. So that's one house that actually is going to, so that's, I mean, think about that for a second. If that happens in the next 3 years, Amazon takes over DC. And I'm not saying Amazon's perfect. We know that they're not. But I'm saying that idea of a house with better resources, a different set of priorities, and different personnel in charge, like it's worth a shot. And if they turn out things like on the level of Invincible or Reacher, and it's Batman, and it's Superman, and it's the Justice League, I mean, what are we going to be saying about Marvel then? Downey playing Stark again. Oh, why? But I know why. But why?
It's disappointing, yo. It's like, damn, it's disappointing, man. I see that reveal when Downey, takes off his mask and he's standing in front of everybody. He's turning and he's winking his eye at Kevin Feige to tell him, you see the reaction? New mask, same task, right? That brings that foreshadowing right there.
But we just talked. It's a shame because Downey is still one of the great talents of our generation. It is also a shame to me that he doesn't want it in that way. We just talked about Colin Farrell. Like Colin Farrell wants it, right? Sergeant Rock, Oz Cobb, that guy wants to act, right? Yeah. If you go for those two parts, that tells me like you want to do different things. You want to inhabit different worlds and different characters. Robert Downey's kind of saying, I'm full commercial, man. Like I did my Oppenheimer. Chris Nolan lit a fire under me long enough to get my Oscar. And now I just want to go back to doing the same thing.
Cowards do that and that ain't you. You're better than that.
But he doesn't seem to want it.
if I see Downey take off his mask early in this movie, the temptation to walk out of the theater is high, yo. I'm going to be struggling to say to myself, I just want to get up and leave now because it's like, I know what this movie's about. I'd rather just catch it on a spoiler review from Emergency Awesome or something like that. I don't want to see this.
Well, guess what? They've given that away. Think about what it says. The whole pitch is his likeness, his face, Pablo. They've given it away. He's not going to be in the mask. How else can he deceive the heroes? He can't deceive the heroes in the mask. He can only deceive it if he's as Downey, looking like Tony Stark, right down to the facial hair. They're telling you he's not wearing the mask.
So we're not even getting Doom until probably the end of the movie.
Yeah, they're treating the Doom mask like we usually wait for the superhero origin film to like suit up in the third act. That's how they're treating the Doom mask. They're telling you that right now. They're insulting you to your face before this movie is even shot a frame. We don't care.
I'm curious for our viewers to really comment on how do you feel about this possibility that this, if it's true, he is supposed to trick them by impersonating Tony Stark up until the end when he perhaps reveals who he truly is. You got to weigh in at least. Do you care? And if you're a Doom fan, Victor Von Doom, who he is, how do you feel about this character not really truly being personified and only being used by name as a vehicle for Downey to do his thing?
That would be my question. Why is he playing Doom? Like, is it Superior Iron Man? That's the evil Iron Man? I can't remember. There's the one where like Tony Stark, basically the alternate version where he basically is sort of a power monger and is a bad guy. I think it's Superior Iron Man, the one that. So why isn't he just playing that? And why isn't this story then almost like the Justice Lords versus the Justice League? You know what I mean? Like, Doom feels, the essence of Doom feels superfluous to this story.
Yeah, it's a facade, yo.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Wow, man. But this is rumor, so but it'll be crazy to see this being played out on screen. You know, everything that we're talking about to be.
I can already see the critics' headline. I can already see the critics' headline. Avengers Doomsday is Doomsday for the MCU. I can already see it.
Let us know what you feel about some of these topics, especially this RDJ situation, man, because it'll be interesting. Can they pull a No Way Home? That's what it is, Brian, because before No Way Home, the concerns were abundant. The concerns are becoming more apparent by these rumors and whatever these like, again, you know what came on the other day, Brian? Dr. Doolittle, yo. He wrote some of that stuff.
He did.
Listen, you want to be a creative? Do it with your own resources. No, don't do it with someone else's. And especially if it's like hundreds of millions of dollars. Do your own independent joint. Write your own joint. Do your own joint. Don't do it on my joint.
Yeah, it didn't work, but that's exactly what Kevin Costner did, right? With Horizon. That's his own money.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, let us know in the comment section below what you guys think, and we'll see you next time on the Nerd Gen Report.